If you were born within the last 10 years, then there's a very high chance that you've been to Chuck E. Cheese before. People used to love Chuck E. Cheese, playing the arcade games, putting your tickets in the ticket muncher afterwards and going to go see what you can earn. Maybe you would like to eat some of the pizza while watching the creepy looking animatronics perform on the stage. Or maybe you like to dive into the feces covered ball pit. Or maybe go up to that one gorilla game, I can't remember the name of it, but you would go up, there was like metal prongs and you would hold on to it and it would like shake and you're supposed to hold on to it for as long as you can. Or that one weird clock ride that everyone used to sit on, it would just take you in small little circles. Wasn't really that hype. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows of Chuck E. Cheese. You know what else everyone knows of? Five Nights at Freddy's, which Chuck E. Cheese does not want anyone to know about for some reason. That's right, Chuck E. Cheese, created by Nolan Bushnell, was easily taken over by Five Nights at Freddy's, created by Scott Cawthon, whenever Scott Cawthon didn't even try and do anything to Chuck E. Cheese. Well, today I'm going to tell you how Chuck E. Cheese single-handedly destroyed itself. The year is 1977. Nolan Bushnell, co-creator of the Atari, wanted to start up a family restaurant where you could watch animatronics perform like it was a Disney ride. One day while Nolan was at a convention, he found a coyote suit. He purchased it, and they were going to open up their restaurant as Coyote Pizza. Until Nolan noticed on the back of the costume, there was a giant pink tail. It was a rat costume, not a coyote. So then he decided to change the name to Ricky Rat's Pizza. But people probably wouldn't want to eat there because of the name rat in a pizza restaurant, you know. It's a rat. People don't like rats. So they then landed on Chuck E. Cheese because saying Chuck E. Cheese makes you smile. And on May 17th, 1977, Chuck E. Cheese's first location was opened. The animatronics would be inside of this weird little picture frame thing like it was Super Mario 64. All of the characters there was Pasquale, Jasper T. Jowls, Krusty the Cat, the three backup singers called the Warblettes, then the main man Chucky himself, who at the time was called Big C.
Please say yes, don't say no.
And we'll tell the world.
By now, it's probably no surprise to anybody that we got a birthday number coming up here.
Well, it's a surprise to me. I didn't even get a present. Me neither, Big C.
That's because it's not your birthday, nitwit.
Chuck E. Cheese was a big success with children. In 1977, Chuck E. Cheese tokens were equivalent to V-Bucks pretty much. The success of Chuck E. Cheese allowed them to make new animatronics. They would introduce these new animatronics as guest stars. The first guest was called Helen Henny, who is still a character to this day. Her first design is weird, and she just looks like she would be in a children's book you would read only one time in your life. The next guest was named Madame Oink, who, fun fact, was apparently the ex to Pasquale. There's a lot more guests, but I'm not going over them because there's just way too much. In December of 1978, the second Chuck E. Cheese location opened, which was 4 times bigger than the first, which at one point was the biggest pizzeria in America. In this location, Krusty the Cat was replaced with Mr. Munch, who is still a current character today. The Warblettes were replaced with the Mopsy sisters, but they weren't really that popular, so they brought the Warblettes back soon after. Helen Henny was back, but this time as a full cast member. This second location was so big that there were parts that just weren't used. So Nolan decided to open up a adult section. Inside this adult section was Dolly Dimples the Hippo. Dolly told adult jokes, and for some reason they used compressed air to make her chest bounce. Eventually they decided they didn't want it just to be for adults, so they started advertising it towards kids as well. The second location was extremely popular, better than the first. So by the end of 1979, they opened 8 more locations, but Nolan couldn't open all the locations by himself. So he hired franchisees. If only Nolan knew that hiring these franchisees would lead to a WWE pay-per-view.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Robert Brock, the largest franchisee of Holiday Inn. Robert saw the franchisee deal with Nolan to open up Chuck E. Cheese in 16 states. Robert opened a few locations, then randomly decided he wanted to rebel, because he didn't think the animatronics were advanced enough. Robert came up with the idea to make a rivaling restaurant to take down Chuck E. Cheese. But Robert has no idea how to make animatronics whatsoever. In 1979, Robert was at a convention and there were performing animatronics on display. made by a company called Creative Engineering, founded by Aaron Fechter. Nolan originally tried to hire Aaron, but thought if Nolan bought his animatronics that Nolan could just take them apart, see how they worked, and then copy them, which would put Aaron out of business. When Robert offered a partnership to Aaron that could take down Chuck E. Cheese, Aaron accepted immediately. They started to get to work on a rivaling restaurant. However, Robert signed a contract with Nolan when he became a franchisee for Chuck E. Cheese, so Nolan sued Robert for breach of contract, and in turn, Robert sued Nolan for misrepresentation. A few months after the lawsuits, Showbiz Pizza Place was created in March of 1980, using Aaron's old animatronics, and made the Rock-afire Explosion Band. In this band was Fats Geronimo the Gorilla, Duke LaRue, Beach Bear, Mitzi Mozzarella, Ralph the Wolf and his puppet Earl Schmerl, and then their mascot, Billy Bob. The two restaurants entered a rivalry, Chuck E. Cheese trying to steal Showbiz Pizza Place's customers, and Showbiz Pizza Place trying to do the same thing. Back at Chuck E. Cheese, some changes were made to try and outdo Showbiz Pizza Place. The picture frames were removed and the animatronics were placed on a stage, and even more guest characters that I'm not going to name because I don't want this video to be too long. But because of the guests, Showbiz Pizza Place wanted to add more characters as well, and they added Uncle Clunk, who was absolute nightmare fuel. Even Icy talked about him in a horror video. At this point, the lawsuit between Nolan and Robert was settled. Showbiz was to pay Chuck E. Cheese a portion of their money over the course of 14 years. Things were looking pretty good for Chuck E. Cheese, until 1983 rolled around. Then there was the video game crash of 1983, which was caused by the amount of video games at the time and how none of them were really good. Not only that, but Nolan had been taking money from Chuck E. Cheese and investing in other ideas that failed, like an adult version of Chuck E. Cheese. In 1984, Nolan resigned as CEO of Chuck E. Cheese because of the insane amount of money loss, and the company filed for bankruptcy the month after. Back with Showbiz, they weren't looking much better than Chuck E. Cheese, but they had much more money than Chuck E. Cheese did, so they bought the company and merged the two pizza places together, keeping the Chuck E. Cheese cast because Aaron was told if he didn't give up the copyrights to his characters, then his band would be taken down from every location. Obviously, Aaron did not give up the copyrights, so the animatronics were taken down, while some of them were also reskinned to become the new Chuck E. Cheese cast called Munch's Make Believe Band. And then Robert as well resigned as CEO from Showbiz Pizza Place. There are also these extremely creepy training tapes on how to remove the animatronic fur and replace it with Chuck E. Cheese. I just thought that was pretty cool. Also, fun fact, Aaron Fechter has a YouTube channel called The Rock-afire Explosion, and I'm pretty sure he still posts to this day. It's actually pretty cool. 28 years later, in 2012, Chucky was redesigned from a rat into a mouse. Also, somewhere down the line, his voice changed from a New Jersey accent to a generic white kid trying to sound like Sonic. The redesign was stupid and also made a lot of people mad, which is understandable. They made it simply just to fit in with the kids at the time. People didn't care for the redesign, but none of the animatronics were redesigned. They just tried to make it look kind of like the newer models. It didn't really look too good. 3 years later, an indie game developer named Scott Cawthon would publish a game called Five Nights at Freddy's, which does not need an introduction. The game was a huge success and made 5 other games. Chuck E. Cheese, for some reason, did not like Five Nights at Freddy's whatsoever. Five Nights at Freddy's was obviously based off of Chuck E. Cheese animatronics, and I don't think Chuck E. Cheese liked their pizza place being compared with a horror game. So in 2017, Chuck E. Cheese announced that they would be removing every single animatronic band from everywhere except for 3 locations. People were obviously really upset about this. They also replaced the, outside. They redesigned it completely, and it looks so stupid. People obviously hated this, and it didn't help that 2 years later, COVID-19 would start. During the pandemic, Chuck E. Cheese wasn't getting any sales at all, and they filed for bankruptcy again. Chuck E. Cheese hasn't been doing well ever since. The animatronic stages were replaced with dance floors and TV screens that have LankyBox playing, along with their own puppet shows. There's also an incident where they were being accused of reusing pizza slices. Honestly, I think I believe it. They said it was uneven because of their dull pizza cutter, but dull pizza cutters aren't going to do this. I'm also recently finding out about this, but apparently they also sell alcohol to adults now, which I find insane because it's a children's restaurant. Like I said earlier, Nolan Bushnell tried to make an adult Chuck E. Cheese. It didn't work. Also, there are fights happening constantly. You can search up Chuck E. Cheese fight, and you'll just see, so much. It's a never-ending Google search. There is a full-on bar fight happening at a Chuck E. Cheese daily. And Chuck E. Cheese's hatred for Five Nights at Freddy's has expanded. Now they tell their employees to act like Five Nights at Freddy's doesn't exist. Chuck E. Cheese could have, leaned into the horror aspect, maybe even asked Scott Cawthon to install, or, make a few arcade cabinets and put it at a few Chuck E. Cheese locations. That would have made so much money. They just decided to remove the one thing that pretty much made Chuck E. Cheese, Chuck E. Cheese. Also, whenever the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was coming out in 2023, they pretty much just copied the poster. Just look at this. Also, they removed the, tokens for these things. Don't even know what they are. Play passes. And the saddest thing of all, to this day, Chuck E. Cheese is using AI to make posters for their events. It's just so sad to see this. Just to think on how Chuck E. Cheese would be if they just didn't do what they did. They also added a new location called Chuck's Arcade, which is for, people who are looking for the nostalgia. They said they have old animatronic bands there, but whenever you go there, the animatronic bands are motionless because they tore the bands apart to make them all stand there in a crappy-looking waving pose. And at this point, if you take a picture of Freddy Fazbear and Chuck E. Cheese and show them to a little boy, he's probably gonna know who Freddy is before he knows who Chucky is. And that's how Chuck E. Cheese made the worst decisions they possibly could. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I seriously mean it, this was actually really fun to make. It also took me a minute. If you want to see more like this, like and subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.